Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here, and welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup. Stage 3, Week 5 results. Okay, so it's been a fantastic week in Atlanta. We have seen some actually quite interesting games. Before this week started, I thought the games would actually be quite clear-cut, but they weren't. We did get some really interesting stuff come out. Now, obviously we had a reduced roster of games this week. Only 8 teams made the trip to Atlanta. Am I right in saying it's 8? I don't know. We won't work it out. But the atmosphere at the Cobb Energy Center was fantastic. As always, when the Overwatch League goes on the road, it is a fantastic atmosphere, and they always do put on a show. We saw the Hammer 1v1 between Dafran and Mangachu. Mangachu won that one. And of course, Bren got slaughtered by Baby Bay in the Widowmaker 1v1. I don't think we expected anything different there, did we? I don't think. And there was an issue with the broadcast. Now, Overwatch League have decided to try out this thing where when they broadcast on ABC or ESPN, they split casts. So one team of casters will do the ESPN or ABC cast, and then another set of casters will do the Twitch cast. This, I think, is pretty good. It's a good idea. It allows the Overwatch League to explain the basics to the people that are less familiar with Overwatch that might be watching on ABC and such. But then on Twitch, you're not getting the people going Resident Sleeper, why am I being told something I already know? You can be a bit more in-depth with what you're casting. Unfortunately, the actual production went through some issues with that. And unfortunately, during the, I believe it was the Shanghai-Philadelphia game, or maybe it was the Fusion Justice game? Or Toronto Reign? I can't remember which one now. But during the first game that was split casted, we missed the entire desk section, which I don't think was particularly brilliant. And 2, we lost a section where Golden Boy was down, I believe with Fran, doing something with the audience, and we were just watching Monty and Doa. And there was all this stuff going on, and we all completely missed it on Twitch, which I think was pretty rubbish, if you ask me. But that's something they should iron out in the future. I think it's a good idea to split cast streams at times, but they just need to iron out a few things. But moving on to our results, I thought I'd get that little snippet in, because otherwise this video is not going to be very long. First up, on Saturday, we had the Florida Mayhem taking on the New York Excelsior. No surprises here that the New York Excelsior win this one quite easily, although Florida Mayhem do manage to pull out a draw on one map. New York Excelsior take this 3-0, they secure their spot in the playoffs. Not only that, they secure their top seed for the division, which does mean that they get that bye into the next round. After that, we have the Philadelphia Fusion up against the Washington Justice. Now, the Fusion had to win this to stay within a chance of getting those playoffs. Washington, there's not too much to play for Washington right now. They do take a map, which is bad for the Fusion, but the Fusion do win it 3-1. Fusion could have done with a 4-0 here, but a 3-1 is not the end of the world. Washington gave them a run for their money, though. This is one of the best Washingtons we've seen in a long time, so hopefully Washington Justice are gaining some traction. Fusion still within a chance, though. Toronto Defiant up next against the home team Atlanta Reign. No surprises here that Atlanta do win this one, but it was closer than we expected. Toronto definitely did want to upset the apple cart. But Atlanta win this one 3-1. And pretty decent display for Atlanta, actually. And they have to start getting wins on the board now. I mean, they've had the toughest stage of anyone, this stage. And that's not just this stage of anyone, it's throughout the season. This is the toughest stage anyone will ever face for Atlanta. So they need to start picking up wins now. And their next stage is really where it needs to turn on for Atlanta, and I really think it could. So this is a great start for them. Moving on after this, we have the Guangzhou Charge taking on the Shanghai Dragons. Now this is where it gets a bit saucy. If the Shanghai Dragons could have got a win here, then they would have sealed a playoff spot for Stage 3, but they're up against quite a good Guangzhou Charge team that have been on a rejuvenation of recently, and they surprised the Shanghai Dragons here. Guangzhou Charge managed to take the win 3-1 over the Shanghai Dragons, leaving it open to Shanghai Dragons' second game of the week. which was up next. This was against the Philadelphia Fusion, so it was a straight playoff basically. The winner takes the stage playoff place. Shanghai Dragons win this one. 3-1 to the Shanghai Dragons. There was some terrific Widowmaker play between Guangzhou Charge and Shanghai and Fusion and Shanghai. Fantastic Widows. And Guangzhou Charge and Washington. The Widow play this week was fantastic. Really, really good. Like, the likes we haven't seen since last year. Really good. So that seals up Shanghai's playoff spot, and basically all of those playoff spots were sealed by then. But we did have some other matches to take care of. 3 matches left, and the first was the Washington Justice taking on the Guangzhou Charge. Now there's no surprises here. After the performance the Charge were able to put in against the Dragons, that they take this quite comfortably and they 4-0 the Washington Justice. That does mean that the Washington Justice finished the stage winless, but there were promising signs for the Justice. They weren't completely outclassed here. Guangzhou played out of their mind, and I'm telling you now that if we head into a sniper meta at any point, I would not want to play against Happy. He is insane. Like, Jesus, but Corey was really good as well for the Justice. So, you look at these lower half teams and you're thinking, you know, a DPS meta could be quite good for these teams. They look very competent on the DPS right now. Whereas you've got the higher end teams like New York, Vancouver, San Francisco and Hangzhou and like the lows likes, they're sticking more to the Sombra Goats or the Straight Goats, which is interesting going into Stage 4. After that we had the Florida Mayhem taking on the home team of the Atlanta Reign. This was a bit of a grudge match in some respects. No surprises here, the Atlanta Reign take the 4-0 win here. They do what they need to do this week and they go 2-0 and that gets them right back into those play-ins. Big week for Atlanta, and hopefully they can push on in Stage 4, because I really think they're on the front foot for those play-in spots now. And then the last game of the week was the New York Excelsior taking on the Toronto Defiant. No surprises here that New York Excelsior take the 4-0 over the Toronto Defiant. The last map, Rialto, though. Take a look at the composition Toronto run on defense, otherwise known as Clockwork Vendetta comp. Now, if you're not Contenders EU, if you're not around the Contenders EU scene, you might not know of Clockwork Vendetta, but they are pioneering a certain comp involving Torb and May. It's looking interesting, and it's starting to seep into other regions and the Overwatch League thanks to the Toronto Defiant, so keep an eye out for that comp. It's almost like a new generation Goats, but with less tanks, less supports, more DPS, and a lot more flashiness. But it should be interesting to see that one develop, although it is 3D DPS based with a Widow, May and Torb, so I don't know whether we will see that in Stage 4 if we go into Triple 2. One thing to note, Mangachu did get some hammer kills with the Torb in that match as well, one of which was on Tsabi Obi, I believe. But that was week 5 in a nutshell right there. Interesting week indeed, and that gives us our lineup that will enter the playoffs. That lineup will be the Houston Outlaws, the Vancouver Titans, Shanghai Dragons, New York Excelsior, Seoul Dynasty, the San Francisco Shock, the Los Angeles Valiant, and the Hangzhou Spark. And I believe after these results, I think the Shock have sealed a top 12 place in the overall standings. We will have a quick look at our standings. At this stage, New York Excelsior top it, the only unbeaten team this stage. There has been quite a big dominance for a lot of teams this stage. I mean, all of the teams in the playoffs are on at least a 5-2 record, which is kind of unheard of. Previously, a 4-3 record has been able to get you there, but the teams like the Guangzhou Charge Gladiators and Philadelphia Fusion have missed out because the quality golf has been a bit big this stage, but that should change up next stage. Vancouver in second, they will take the Pacific Division. Hangzhou Spark in third, Shock in fourth, Seoul in fifth, Los Angeles Valiant in sixth, what a story that is, along with Houston Outlaws in seventh. Shanghai Dragons in eighth for their second playoffs in a row, I believe. Los Angeles Gladiators miss out only just in ninth, Guangzhou in 10th, Philadelphia in 11th, Paris in 12th, Chengdu in 13th, London in 14th. Not been the most ideal stage for London, but this is their worst stage schedule of the whole season. Next stage, I'm expecting London to do well. They must do well, because they have now fallen out of the automatic qualification spaces in the overall playoffs. Atlanta are in 15th, Dallas in 16th, along with the Boston Uprising, Florida Mayhem in 18th, Toronto in 19th, joint 19th with Washington Justice, because they are the only two teams that didn't pick up a win this stage. Overall standings, Vancouver are still top. They are a top sixth place locked in now. Excelsior and Shock in 2nd and 3rd, they are top 12 sealed now. You have 4th, 5th and 6th, the last automatic places occupied by the Hangzhou Spark, Los Angeles Gladiators and Seoul Dynasty. Then you've got London on the outside looking in that 7th place. Shut up, phone. Shanghai Dragons in 8th. Those two teams, along with the Philadelphia Fusion, they're on the outside looking in now in terms of the actual automatic playoff spots. So, the easiest run, I believe, is London's, because I think the toughest team London will face next stage is Vancouver, but I believe it's the only tough team London face at next stage. So, London are quite capable of getting back out there, whereas Gladiators, Seoul, Hangzhou, Shock, Fusion Dragons, there's some games they have to play against each other. So there's going to be some games dropped by these teams that London could capitalise on. So London are looking in not too bad shape going into stage 4. Obviously below this we have Dallas in 10th, Atlanta in 11th and Chengdu in 12th, occupied in the last play-in spots. There, Dallas are falling down the league now, and it's all getting quite tight down there, because you look, there are 2 wins between 10th place Dallas and 17th placed Boston Uprising. It's so close. So that includes Guangzhou Charge, Los Angeles Valiant, the Houston Outlaws, and the Paris Eternal. It's so darn close. And then you add another win onto that, you've got Toronto Defiant in 18th, who are not far away either. So all these teams are still in it running into stage 4. Obviously the 2 teams that are adrift at the bottom are Washington Justice and Florida Mayhem. They are 7 wins off of the play-ins. So that's literally, they need everyone else to lose and them to win every single game next stage. It ain't going to happen. Florida and Washington are basically out at this point. But I'm going to leave it here for this one. It's been an interesting week. Obviously, we'll have a preview of the playoffs. The playoffs should be very interesting, because you've got a lot of different teams running a lot of different comps. So there could be quite a few upsets. We hope there is, because it could be really interesting, this Stage 3 playoff. And it is the last playoff we'll have, because I believe there are no Stage 4 playoffs. I believe the playoffs at the end of Stage 4 are the play-ins between 7th and 12th for the overall season. So I don't think there are actually any Stage 4 playoffs for the stage. But for now, the next video will be either the first of the win conditions videos or the stage preview. The stage playoffs preview, sorry. But I'm going to leave it here for now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.